Very strong, very strong. The fact you can rest it and get a body out for the value of your Don, super strong.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. Firing off our top 16 matchup. This match is going to be so important. The winner of this match becomes a top 8 player, taking home a serialized ace card. A lot to play for here, and a good start for Jared here, with that search being fired off. And the great thing about doing this search, all right, you do have to trash a card from hand, but you end up putting 3 cards in your trash, and then you do your leader effect, and essentially you're 4 cards in trash at the end of this turn.
Exactly that, and which is, already getting IMU close to that 7 cards in trash threshold, or in some cases the 10 cards in trash threshold for certain abilities on the 5 elders, which I'm sure we'll see later on in the game.
Yeah, exactly. So as we see, that's 4 cards added to Jared's trash, and now we see our Zoro player. What are we going to see? Is it a Hiyori or a Perona in hand? A Perona comes down. So we do see it doing the search. The wonderful alt art version. Very nicely bling deck here indeed.
We do see that Mihawk, which is a very important card as part of the combo for the early play here.
Yeah.
Which it does look like he's going to take. So does he have the Zoro in hand for his forward on turn to get that play off?
Yeah, it'd be good if he does. What does he have in hand there? Not too sure. We pass back over to Jared now. 3 Dawn. Can't cheat out an Elder this turn with that stage, but can definitely go digging for a few more pieces if he does have some searches in hand or not.
Looks like a fair few events there.
Yeah. But they don't look like the right events. So he is going to pitch a counter to be able to draw into one. Again, not really finding the pieces he needs. Just passes the turn, choosing not to swing.
It's a very important part of this matchup here. You try and starve Zoro as much as you can in the early game. I'm sure you know this as an EMU player, Taj. To keep those key cards, hoping that they're in that life. And once you get the 5 elder circle going, that's when you start chipping away.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what you want to do. You want to make sure that your opponent can't play the right pieces at the right time as a Zoro player, and just starve them as much as possible, as you stated. But
that is not the best start for Zoro there. Not having something to play off the Mihawk, but establishing the body so he can swing with next turn, or potentially set up a lore play going later on in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jared still no characters on board here. Now up to 5 Dawn, but now can play some 4 costs on the board.
Will we see a Saturn Searcher coming out?
Yeah, Saturn's going to be the ideal choice here.
We do not see one.
No, I always get confused with these alt arts about which ones.
The alt arts are very tough. We do see War Curry, but it's a good blocker, right? As we discussed yesterday, one of the greatest ones of if it does get removed by Zoro, at least you're drawing a card from it.
Exactly. The War Curry is a very, very good card. It does require you to have 7 cards in your trash to become a blocker, but I think Jared is in a comfortable position where he probably does have those now because of that early turn 1 where he managed to get 4 cards in trash. But let's have a look.
So we see the 5 with the Mihawk.
Yeah, swinging into that. We are going to see a draw off that, as we stated. And now we do take the life from the secondary swing from the leader. So Jared's down to 3 life. Nothing on the board here. Trash is filling up. But Samu Pao does have that Tashigi on board now as well, which is really important, isn't it?
Yes.
Definitely finding that at this turn has definitely given him a bit more momentum, I would say, after that Mihawk being dropped down on its own last turn.
But this is where it is possible to get rid of the Mihawk with a leader swing, and then potentially he's going with the 6. It could have been using the event to remove the Tashigi, because you really want to try and help get rid of pieces to stop the law combo of where that Tashigi could swing next turn, be bounced,
Absolutely.
and replayed again. So it's very, very scary.
Yeah. And he does have the 2 copies of the event that will allow him to remove that Tashigi.
Which I think we may see here.
Yeah, it would be good if we could see that dropping down at this point. So we're not. We're going to go digging a bit further.
As we know, finding those key cards very important for this matchup. Getting those elders in the grave, as you can see, they're getting spread out there, so he knows what's in the trash. And then finding the 5 elders for that all important 10 Don turn.
Exactly. So does he have Mars? Because Mars would be a good option here.
Yes.
To be able to drop the Mars, to be able to deal with that Tashigi. Does look like there is that a Mars in hand? No, I'm not too sure. Again, very difficult to tell with these alt arts.
And the
Which
corner of the
one's which?
cards. I
Yeah.
think the 3rd card in might
It
be.
might be a Mars. Yeah, it does look like it could be a Mars there.
This is, we're seeing what you're seeing at home. Makes it very hard to sometimes tell. I think he's debating whether to use leader ability or not here, which he, I think, is dropping one of the war curries.
Yep.
Obviously, he was also trying to work out what to trash.
So resting 3 here now. And we are going to see the Mars drop down. Trash 1 card from hand. So just declaring on-play effect. It's a very difficult decision here, what he's going to trash.
And this is the difference, Taj, between the Zoro player seeing the Mihawk into Zoro on the 4 Don turn to not, because allowing that restand to Don allows them to play out the Koshiro blocker, which obviously in this scenario would have been there to stop the KOing of the Tashigi.
Yeah.
So as much as the Zoro's looking commanding, still not seeing the flawless pieces.
Absolutely. So Jared's in a bit better state now here, having dealt with that Tashigi, and also sort of forcing a counter, swinging into that Mihawk, which ended up.
How will Sam Prout respond? And there we see the Zoro that I have been speaking about all game.
Oh, this Zoro is such a very difficult card to deal with.
And that is a very strong turn play there. Getting the Zoro out, restanding 2, allowing the Tashigi out to rest, to then swing the 8.
Yeah,
With
absolutely.
the Don left over to swing a 5. Very, very strong.
Very strong indeed. And now we've got Mihawk swinging 5 in as well. That Mihawk is definitely putting a shift in here. Forcing those cards or life from Jared. Jared now having to think about how to deal with this particular attack coming in. Does give a 1k counter. And now we see the leader swing coming in. Another life taken. As we pass back over to Jared now. And Jared's on the 9 Don turn now. Not able to play the Elder just yet. 5 Elders card would be really important to be able to get down. But at the moment, could possibly drop maybe a defense of some sort. Well, goes for the Searcher. Ideal at this stage, trying to find pieces that you might need. Maybe counter event would be useful here. Does he have all the elders that he needs in the trash? He doesn't have the 10 cost in hand by the looks of it.
And this is why he's been digging and digging. Probably thinking, where are you? As we all have so many times when we're looking for that key card. But at this point in time, as you said, that board next turn, he's got a 5 coming at him, a 7 coming at him, potentially another 5 from the Mihawk, even before the leader swung. It's gonna be a rough turn for Jared here. He needs to prepare for what's coming ahead, and he's been having his hand chipped away, life down to 2. Zoro showing how it can win this matchup, even though it is a Emu favored matchup.
Yeah, so we do see 5 elders there in that 5 cards. We also see the 1 cost event. It never existed in the first place, but he does decide to take the 5 elders. And he's just putting those cards down at the bottom in the particular order that he wants. As we know, this Emu deck does cycle through that deck very much, so it will be good to understand what he's going to be able to see again, putting that 1 cost event at the top of that pile of 4 cards he just placed at the bottom.
Absolutely. Another fundamental skill for anyone new or wanting to improve. These are great games to watch. Seeing top players, these are key things that help improve your game.
Absolutely. And he trashed that character that was on board, not wanting it to be another free target for Samu Pao to be able to rest and swing into. He'd rather get the draw off it. And it was a useful draw because it did give him an event, counter event, which might be very useful to give him the extra turn he needs to be able to get to that 5 elders turn. So now does swing 7 into that Mihawk. That Mihawk finally leaves the field. And now we still have the Tashigi and that Zoro. That Zoro will restand at the end of the turn after it swings. Really nasty card. It's just very sticky.
Very, very strong unless you have removal.
Yep. So 10
3
on
Don up
turn.
though.
Yep. 3 Don up. Plenty for counter events. 10 on turn for Samu Pao. What is he going to do here now? I think Jared's fairly comfortable. He does have at least the 3 events. We know he's got the 3 plus 3k events and the plus 4k event as well in hand.
Very unsure what's in his hand at the minute for Sam Powell.
Yeah.
Ideal play could be Law. So swing with a Tashigi, play the Law.
Yeah, there's a Luffy should be king of the pirates in hand there.
I think there is a Law being cycled through.
There
so we
is
may
a Law
see
in
this.
hand. Yep. Another 7k swing. Another counter event being used to counter out of that attack. So at this point now, Samu Powell's got the knowledge that he's not going to be able to push him to too much. It does swing now with the Perona, and that's countered. Now we see a 7k swing coming in from the Zoro. Do you want to take the life here, or are you going to use the event to counter out of this one? He is going to use a plus 4k. We are going to see a restand here. Another 7k swing coming in. This one will be taken, and it is a search off trigger. So it does give him something to think about here. There is another 5 elders there. Does he want to take something that might be a bit more useful to be able to give him another turn after playing the 5 elders this coming 10 Don turn?
Well, it's something we discussed yesterday during all our Emu matchups. Getting Emu down to 2-1 life before that first 5 elders drops is huge at winning the matchup. And you can see this here. You know, a 7k swing, a 7k swing, a 5k swing, and then double 7. Really, really big pressure from Samu Powell right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So decides to take the 5 elders, so he will be able to chain that 2 turns in a row. Will he have what it takes to be able to deal with this board? So he's probably going to want to deal with this Tashigi and the Perona. Tashigi will be dealt with an on play of it is Saturn, isn't it? Is it Saturn? Oh, I can never remember the names of these guys. Mars, even. Yes, Mars. The on play of Mars will be able to deal with that. So Emu swinging in to get rid of the Perona.
We'll probably see Venus probably look to rush in and drop Tashigi down to 5 for the 7-5. And then Mars probably to deal with the Zoro if Jared wants to go for 4 full board clear.
Yeah. You're right there, actually. Yeah, you want to deal with that Zoro, as you say, because it does restand. The Tashigi can be minus 2,000 powered and then swung in with a 7k K attack, or even more depending on how much Don you want to commit on that attack. So you do have the 1 rush available to you here as well. So we're going to see the on plays now being activated.
Should be the search first. Here we go.
Yeah, always a smart play. Do the search first, find out what you're going to be getting into your hand, and then they'll give you a better idea of what to target. So decides to take the searcher event, which he could use 1 Don to go searching for, but no, decides to trash it because it is common knowledge for Samuel Power what that card was.
Very smart play. Keeping hand knowledge secret.
Yep.
Very strong sometimes.
And now goes 11 into 5, I think it was.
Yeah.
There were 4 Don attached there. So yeah.
Yeah, big swing. Big swing. Guaranteeing that clear.
Yep.
But suddenly the board state has changed hugely. And this is the thing of the IMU matchup, right? 1 minute you go from having nothing on board to 2 blockers, a rusher, something that's KO'd something, and then when they're swinging at you, they're all 7Ks as long as you've got Jupiter on board.
Yeah, absolutely. That Jupiter is such an important card, isn't it?
It really does apply that pressure to these decks that it faces into. Against Ace, yes, you're looking at a 2K counter if it's a 7K swing. But into the vanilla 5 leader, 5K leaders, that 7K is huge. That's 2 cards a turn.
Absolutely. And what I do love about what Gerard's doing here is just showing you like high level play of this Emu deck. You're not worried about trashing your Saturn that you just played out to draw another card because you're going to go digging. You're trying to find those counter events. Having that Saturn on board in this particular matchup, you're like, I'd rather just go looking for those pieces. So every time we've seen Saturn played, we've seen it trashed off the leader effect rather than trashing a card from hand. So you want to keep your hand size as good as possible, but you also want to keep digging for pieces. So that adding that extra card every turn to your hand is really important.
Very much so. And removing a body in the Zoro matchup that would be a very easy target for Samuel Pao to focus into because it doesn't give anything if KO'd by him, unlike, say, War Curry or just trying to swing into the other key pieces.
Yeah, absolutely right. So just having a look at Jared's trash here to see how many events are in there, more than likely. And maybe how many 5 elders are in there as well. Because that will be a tell as to whether he should be going for game here. So sticks 3 Don, swings into life here. Leaving all that Don open. We will see a block and a draw. Restand. And another 8K swing into life. We see another block. Trafalgar Laws played to bounce back a Perona to hand, replaying the Perona, going searching for another piece from the top 5 cards of the deck. And what does he find? A Tashigi, another really important piece there.
Very, very strong. When, you've got the 5 elders going and they're dropping the blockers back, so important. Or if you want to try and get rid of Nusajoro and it's rushing and minus 2King, very strong card to ensure. Because sometimes now, Emu can be in that driving seat. And we saw it yesterday in a couple of Emu matchups where they didn't swing with it because they didn't need to. Whereas now, at least Zoro can force that with the aid of Tashigi when needed.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, got Samuel Powell still on 5 life. Does Jared start to focus in on life at this point or not? Does have 2 swings here before he plays the next Elder. Is going to focus on life now.
Here's where, when seeing the 5 elders, being able to get that body swings out with the bodies on board to then bring them all back and swing again can be really oppressive. And
Yeah,
you know, as you said, this is where you see the okay, we've starved you all game, but now we're going to get the bodies out and start applying the pressure to you again, put you on a clock.
exactly. Swings into life again. This one's countered out. 7k attack from leader. There are more than 19 cards in. Trash at this point, as you'd expect. Stage being activated. I wonder what we're going to see played here, Levi.
I wonder, could it
Three,
be an
three
Searcher
Donruss.
event, or could it be the Five
another
Elders?
another 5 elders being dropped on board now. As it stands, that 5 elders only 7,000 base power.
That is something that I feel like some people, especially when they were learning the deck, and there was a few people that were playing the Five Elders out, and they would be like leaving it there,
Yeah.
and then be like, I swing 12, and be like, no, you've got Jupiter on board still. It's 7.
Exactly.
But here we see all of them out, all in their beautiful alt arts, as we discussed yesterday. They are
Yeah,
stunning cards.
absolutely are. Brilliant artwork on these amazing alt arts of these 5 elders. And Jared now going to choose to probably pitch one card to get rid of that Zorro. Oh no, the Zorro was a 6 cost,
No,
wasn't it?
it's
Yeah,
it's a
sorry.
law.
Oh, sorry, it's the
Yeah, so yeah.
law.
Yes, so
These
he can't
cards
hit
all
it that
look
way.
the same. Yeah, you can't hit it. Yeah, you can't hit it. So yeah.
However, he did minus 2k power on it with the first Nusajuro, so when he swung with here, it would have been down to 2k on the block. So
Yep.
even then, he's at 2 life, which he can't do this turn anyway. So it's very interesting that the Prona's been allowed to stay on board, but I get why Jared did for the pressure of life, because now, you know, he's at 2 life. There's this full board. If you don't remove bodies this turn, there is 6 swings coming you at next turn. 5 of them are minimum 7k, and the leader's 6. It's a dangerous time now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really good play by Jared. You know, starving the hand early on in the game. This turn, really starting to put some pressure on that life, taking him down to 2, playing that second 5 elders card out to flood the board, and now in a pretty good position. 5 Don up, probably a couple of events in hand. Definitely, I saw a Shirahoshi 2k counter as well. So we are going to see the Tashigi come down.
Press one of the blockers, and this is very smart, right? Because we spoke about this. It's not War Curry.
Yep.
It's Mars. Killing Mars doesn't gain the Emu player any benefit, whereas War Curry gives them the blocker. You get to
Yep.
draw one card from it. So, you know, Samuel Powell showing very, masterful play here with Zora, knowing what to do. As
Yep.
much as some people say it's a very simple deck, you still need to pick the right cards to do the right things too.
Yep. So Jared does choose to protect it. And then we are now seeing another 9k swing with Zorro coming in. That one is taken. See a blocker getting dropped down now. Another blocker
Ooh.
being dropped down. So 3 blockers on board now for Jared to have to try and push through. At the same time, he's down to 0 life. Samu Powell's still on 2 life.
And we can't see, but it looks like a handful of cards.
Yep. 3 cards in hand for Samu Powell.
Very, very interesting time. You know, because as soon you probably take that first life, you're down to now law blockers activated.
Yep.
So now he has 3 blockers on board. But as we discussed, he can swing with all those bodies and then play a 5 elders out again, and they're all active.
Yeah,
And then he's got another swing with the Nisajuro and 2 blockers. So
absolutely.
it's very tough here now.
Yep. So that one gets countered out of the first swing. So we are going to have 7k swings coming in here. And if Jared wants to commit some Don on them as well, but no, it's going to start with the 7s to force cards out of hand before the blockers start getting utilised.
We see the -2k being applied to the law. So if it does get rested and then a counter being put on top, it's going to die that way instead of.
We do see Jared there using the trash to draw off the leader effect. See another swing coming in.
And this is the scary part, right, Taj? Because it only costs 3 Don to play the 5 Elders out.
Yep.
So then you could leave all the others up for events. Or as you said already, do you want to attach Don for a bigger, beefier swing? We're seeing the leader sitting there, still active. If the 5
Yep.
Elders come out, Nusajoro's back out, that's another body to contend with still. It's very flexible in how it wants to play. And we've seen that. Easing off the gas early game, first 10 Elders came out, life started being taken, applying pressure. And you'd think, oh, I'm going to be at 0 life against a leader that can swing into blockers and restand and swing at you again, or use the restand events. But IMU can go, well, I'll just play just leave a bunch of Don open for events and counter out.
Yeah, smart play there, swinging the 8 into life. So that way, even if the Trafalgar Law was used to block, you wouldn't be able to counter. Now we are seeing a 10k swing into life. Sorry, 9k. That one is blocked. And we're now going to see a 10k swing into life. And that was enough to give Jared the game 1 win.
Which is very impressive because, as we discussed prior to the match, being forced to go first as IMU really throws you off curve, Taj, into our compared to our first round game where Zoro and Roger finished their first game within, say, 12 minutes. We've already got half the time gone here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're just over 31 minutes here. So almost half of our time used up just in that game 1. So that does give Gerard a bit of an advantage if we do end up going to time here. Having the 1 game win means that he will win the round. But we do feel that this one, I think, will, if it doesn't get settled in this game here, we'll probably go to a third game. There's probably enough time on the clock with what Gerard's going to be playing now on the preferred option. But no, Gerard's deciding to go first. This is interesting. So yeah, we've got Gerard here playing on the odd curve.
The losing player will get to...
Sorry, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, losing player gets priority.
So it gives Samuel Powell the chance now again to do it. However, this does mean if he does clinch it, this puts Jared in a really solid place going into game 3 if that occurs with IMU. As we know, that second curve is just relentless as IMU.
Absolutely right. So Jared's now on his 3 Don turn. Can he find any more potential searches here? Needs to try and fill that trash up if he can. Looks like he has got it in hand. He does indeed. It's going to be another 4 cards going into trash here, which is exactly the position you want to be in.
For sure. I am wondering if we see the Shirahoshi, which, as we saw yesterday, Taj put in a lot of work.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So we do get an event there. Passes the turn with 2 Don open.
I am wondering to see if our Zoro player didn't mulligan his hand because he had the key pieces. So he doesn't have the Mihawk, but we see the Zoro very strong, restands the 2, allows a 7.
Yep. And Jared's quite happy to use one of those available Don to counter out of that one with a plus 3k. Using Equilibrium. And now...
Very strong card.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 Don turn now. Is Gerard going to be able to play out an Elder? Maybe go searching? Yes, we do see it. Here comes down Saturn, allowing him to go looking at the top 5 cards to find a piece that'll be useful.
Perfect card for the 5 Don turn because, as we said in game 1, he'll be able to then trash it to draw another card, stopping Zoro from benefiting from the likes of Tashigi.
Yep. Just deciding what to take. Yep, takes the event again, which again he does find is quite important to keep. So he is going to do leader effect, as you stated. Draw another card, not leaving any characters on board at this stage. 2 Don open, does have events to be able to counter out any particular swings here. Really important to try and protect that 4 life at this stage until you get to that point in the game where you can start dropping your 10 cost 5 elders. And Jared's, in a pretty good place here now. Would hopefully want to deal with that Zoro at some point as well.
Absolutely.
We do see Cavendish coming down now. Again, restanding 2 Don. Zoro now, swinging 6. Do you just use a 2k counter here? Yes, he does. Save those events. But what's coming in now? So leader swinging, just 6k as well.
This is very interesting for me because no Koshiro here would have been fantastic after the Cavendish, because then you drop it, and then
Yep.
going into Jared's 7 Don turn, like last game, would mean no Mars. But we don't see the Koshiro now allowing Jared to have that opportunity if he has the Mars. But what do you take out here, the Cavendish or the Restand Zoro? Both very strong pieces,
Absolutely.
very hard to choose from.
Yeah.
I think I did catch a glimpse of a Mars in hand.
Yeah, we
It is
do
the most
definitely have a
colourful
Mars.
one.
Yeah, there it is. So drops the Mars for 3 Dawn and resting the stage. Rushing Shirley and getting rid of the Cavendish. That Cavendish, as you stated, gives so much value each turn. That restanding that 2 Dawn is so important. And a 6k swing is more of a threat than that Zoro. Yes, that Zoro is awkward because it does restand itself every turn, but at this particular stage, I think you want to deal with the Cavendish. So right choice there by Jared.
4 Don still open.
Yep. Again, he's probably going to be reluctant to want to starve in try and starve Samu Pao by not swinging into life at this stage. Worked really well for him in turn 1, but he's going to pay 4.
We see a War Curry come down.
Yeah, Walkery blocker comes down. And again, if that is targeted, then he's happy with that because he will, even if it's not targeted and it's the Mars that's targeted, he can use it to block, which will get him an extra draw. So really important because it gets him the draw, but also puts another important piece in the trash as well.
Absolutely. Seeing him trash the 5 Elders, always seeing an Emu player trash a 5 Elders is never a good sign. There's more coming as the opposition.
Absolutely. I think Jared's quite comfortable that he hasn't seen many of them in his searches, so he's got one in hand and he might be comfortable thinking, right, I might see another one fairly soon. I think there's 2 in trash now, but in this particular matchup, I think 2's more than enough, isn't it? To chain 2, and that's about it. You don't
Very
probably not
much
need the
so.
third.
Well, as we saw, we were speculating that we'd see a third in the last game, and didn't even need that. Just play out the rush body and go big.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's very, very flexible. We discussed this so much yesterday. Emu has the ability to ease off the gas, apply pressure, get blockers if they need to, get card draw if it needs to, be very consistent, have events. I think it's a very high skilled deck. And the options are there, and I think from this game and the games we'll see going forwards, we'll see that in the quality of the players playing. very good deck to play if you want to have a complex high scaling deck that's very strong in the current meta.
Yeah, absolutely. So your research gives Luffy is the one that become king of the pirates. Swing coming in with Zoro, countered out by 1k. Using that Saturn there to counter. And now what are we going to see? A nice big 9k swing coming in from Zoro. That gets blocked. Another draw. Restand, reswing. Another block. Restand event, another swing. That life's taken. So Jared down to 2 life now. Both those blockers now off the board. But I think Jared's on 9 Don. Does have the ability to be able to keep Don open for those events. He's going to deal with the Hiyori first with the IMU swing. Oops, just thinking, do I want to play that first?
Is where the flexibility comes in. The fundamentals of sequencing just right.
Yep. Starts off with a 4. Hard playing the Saturn, looking for another piece here.
We see the War Curry.
Yep. That's a Walkery to hand. And now we will see stage activated for 3 Don.
And there we see Mars again, being able to remove the Zoro.
Fantastic play there. Rest the stage, obviously. And clears the board. But more importantly, he gets a couple of blockers on the board as well. So that will be quite important here. 2 Don up.
This is the danger of a lot of Zoro lists in OP13 have decided to drop the free cost Tashigi, because obviously it can't block its 5 cost counterpart. But in certain matchups like this, getting rid of protecting that Zoro would be absolutely huge. So
Yeah.
the fact that you're only relying on the Koshiro now, and as we've seen, we've not seen one so far this game, and it's cost Samu Powell both a Cavendish and the Zoro. Having that second protection would be really strong.
Absolutely. And as you say, we haven't seen it this turn, which is really a tell. But good turn there by Jared. He did trash the Saturn. Sorry, I did. Again, these arts throw me off. The Saturn obviously wasn't a blocker. It was a searcher card. So trash that off leader effect. Then played the Shirahoshi, putting an Equilibrium and a 10 cost 5 Elders card back to the bottom of the deck, forcing Samu Pao to trash a card from hand. We are now seeing the attacks coming in from the leader. 9k swing, which is a nice number because we know it'll mean forcing a stage. Ooh, does take that one. And now we're going to see another 9k swing coming in. This time he will counter out quite comfortably and turn
This
past
is where Zoro
over.
can be so strong.
Yeah,
Doesn't need bodies on board. We'll just keep
absolutely.
swinging at you.
So Jared now looking for the pieces in his trash for the 5 Elders. The only worry we've got here now is obviously if there's a dead man's in Samu Power's hand, this could be
However,
really,
you think 2 restands have been used,
yeah,
and we know Jared has a plethora of events. So this is where, yes, by all means, dead man game me, because there's no Cavendish on board. So if he's resting 4 Don, he's only got 6 to play with.
true.
And if Jared leaves up for the events,
Yep,
he's sitting pretty.
yeah. So 3 cards in hand for Samu Powell. Jared now swinging 6 into life. That's taken.
Very similar situation into our first game. 3 cards in hand, 5 life. And now Jared starts applying the gas. We see the 5 elders coming down. We know what's going to come off this.
Yep.
Be interesting to see what gets trashed here, though, for the 5 elders.
Yeah. It's going to trash from hand here.
I think he's just checking to ensure he has all of them in trash.
Yep.
Because, as we both know, 5 elders instead of 4 elders. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
4 elders instead of 5 elders is absolutely horrific.
Yeah, absolutely. We have seen that before, haven't we? There we go. Okay, we've got 5. Maybe not the full pretty set there, but we definitely have the 5 elders out.
It was the same in the first match, and then when the alt art did come down, it won the game for Jared. So
It
we
did
could
indeed.
see the same again here.
Did indeed. Let's see here. Jared just having a look at those top 5 cards. Deciding which one to take to hand here. What's going to be the most useful piece? Takes another 5 elder.
This is a very crucial moment in the game for Jared because he knows his opponent's only got 4 cards in hand. He knows 2 restands have been used.
Yep.
You start chipping away at that life, but now you could be giving him the cards that could win him the game. But this is where, as I said, IMU, if he just keeps the cards up, the Don up, he's got the count routes. He doesn't need to use blockers to avoid the Zoro ability.
Yes, but he does make sure he's got 3 blockers up now. So
Very
that was
strong.
final play there, was to play another blocker out. Really strong now, giving himself a bit more protection. 2 Dawn up as well for 2 events. So trying to make the best possible scenario for himself, depending on what Samu Power does here. And this is where it's really important knowing your opponent's deck, potentially what they can play, what might be in that deck, and trying to defend all of those particular attacks that might come in.
We do see a restand in hand.
We do.
So there is that possibility. However, as you said, 3 blockers to get through, 2 Don open. It's going to be very tough.
Yep.
However, there are 16 minutes on the clock. So, if this game's not ended, if Sam Powell does win, going into game 3, there is not going to be a lot of time on that game.
And that's going to force Jared to have to play in a different play style as well, because you're going to,
Very much
again, it
so.
comes down to who's got the most life at the end of time. So it will be important to ensure that you are making some sort of inroads into life. So we see a Queener come down, resting down one of those blockers. Huge swing coming in now of 11k. 3 Don left open. We all know what that 3 Don's for. Does block to draw a card. We stand. Another swing coming in. Do you block with a Mars here, or do you start countering? Does block. Now we do see the restand event. Another 11k coming in. Pretty sure Jared has 2 events that will definitely get him out of this. Does he want to use both of them here? He does indeed. Goes up to 13k. Turn passes back over now to Jared.
And this is where this is a very, very important turn now. There's no doubts about it here. But Jared can now think he's used 3 restand Zoro offense. Does he have the 4th?
Yep.
Do I gamble on that, or do I go for some big swings? And we see the 7 coming in straight away off the bat.
Yep. 7 into life. Within this G-ZORO. I think Samu Powell's got 3 or 4 cards in hand here. Decides to take it. 4. There's 5 cards in hand now. Definitely a 2k counter amongst them and a couple of 1ks. 7 at life.
Plenty of 2Ks right now. Very,
Yep.
very healthy position to be in.
Yep.
Just can give a 2 and a 1, but he's going to take, you know.
Yep. He's trying to find the pieces.
But you've got to think now, right? Normally, where Zoro bricks is because he has the events in his hand. He's used
Yep.
3, so Jared, very good player. Will not easily fall for this.
So Jared now thinking about, okay, how much Don have I got? How much do I want to commit? Does have this 7k swing left before he does have to drop the 5 elders. Does he just swing 7? Does he add some Don to this to make it a little bit more powerful of a swing? Nope, it's going to go with a 7. You're going to see 3k's worth of counter being used here. 4 cards left in hand for Samu Powell.
Still a very strong choice because now we could see the 5 elders and Nostro come back out. He's still got the Don to split between his leader and the Nostro.
Yep. 2 attacks still to come through if he drops that 5 elder now, which we are pretty certain of seeing. Okay, starts off with a 9k swing with leader. Do you have the counter? Takes the life. Okay. Now we'll see Jared dropping down, swinging. Just doing the maths here.
That's 9, 10, 11, 12.
12k, just about enough to withstand that attack. Was that the right thing to do, do you think?
I think it's a gamble, and I think the smarter play, honestly, is probably 5 elders. It will be interesting to see because, as you said already, now IMU has to play very differently. It likes to be a patient deck, but now with 10 minutes on the clock and then
Jared, you put
potential
1 too many life. There we
overtime.
go. Yep. Yep. Put 1 life back on the top of the deck. There's. But yeah,
Luckily, at a
again,
point where it's not an unbreakable game state.
exactly. Yeah. So that was quickly resolved. But yes, you're right. This is it now. He needs to really start applying pressure onto that life. Less than 10 minutes on the clock to go. So yeah, it will be a slightly different play here from Jared as far as the game's concerned.
Because we all know what Zoro is going to attempt to do. Just swing like his swords depend on it. So we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely.
We see a restand in hand. We see a Mihawk. We see a Kashjiro. Oh, that was the search. Interesting.
Yep.
But this is where you need to be careful because you still have to play the game and not be too reckless because that could be worse for you in the long run.
100%. So we do see 2 cards hitting the trash. There's our 4 cards. Perfect turn 1. Passes the turn back over now. Let's see what Samu Power is going to do on his 3 Don turn here. Swings 5k. 2k counter in the form of Shirahoshi. We do see that Mihawk dropping down. Nothing off the Mihawk, but that is that extra body. And we did see Mihawk doing 5k swings multiple times in that first game of 3 here. So we do know how important that is. So we are seeing a 5k swing into life here now from Jared. That is taken by Samu Pao.
And this is where that Mihawk, even if it's just a 5k swing, applying that pressure in the 3rd game of the round is very important.
Absolutely is. So we're going searching for pieces here. We do find what looks like the Mars, I think he's put into his hand because he knows being able to remove certain characters is going to be really important here to try and control that board state from Samu Pao. Taking multiple hits from the leader is going to be bad enough, but you don't want hits coming from characters on board as well. So passes the turn back over.
One Don open to counter any big swings that come in this turn.
Yep. Needs to keep that life safe. 5 Don. Starts off with a 5k swing. Using one of those Elders in hand as a 1k counter. She does. Uses the war cry. And another Mihawk now being dropped down. And this time we do see the blocker as well. So just going wide, not being able to play anything off the Mihawk, but just getting characters and bodies on board is important at this stage because it will get to a point where if we do go at a time, just sticking Don on those characters and swinging with them is going to be important because at the moment Jared is not building a board state himself. So he does need to make sure.
Well, this is a great setup from Samu Powell because next turn he could swing 5 with one of the Mihawks.
Yep.
And then activate Law and bounce it back to hand into, say, a 5-cost Tashigi. Because as you said, Jared now needs to put bodies on board. And I'm sure Samu Powell's figured that out. So if Tashigi comes down now to rest something, it gives more value.
Absolutely. 5k swing into life here. That one's taken. Drops down to 3 life now, Samu Power. Jared still on 4. But can he find the pieces he needs here? Nistro being added to hand there. Off that search. Plenty more cards going into the trash. Another draw by trashing the Saturn. And we do see another search being fired off again. Filling that trash as quickly as possible.
While filling hand. And this is a very different showing for any emu like anyone who wants to learn how to play the deck. This is how this third game's so important. You see he's swinging into life now. He's getting rid of cards to get all the searching, to have that big hand to counter out, protect that life. Very, very impressive change of gear by Jared here.
Absolutely. And going on that even curves really probably helped a lot now for him to be able to get to where he needs to fairly quickly. And we see him countering out that first 5k swing, and rightfully so, just as you said. Ooh, but he does
the Perona. Okay.
decides to pick up the Perona instead. Plays the Tashigi rested. And now goes 8. Probably a good choice because that Mihawk's probably not going to go anywhere because now it gives Jared a choice. What do you want to swing into, the Tashigi or the Mihawk? But if he does play that Nustro, you can swing into both, to be fair here. Jared does take his first life here, dropping down to 3 on his 8 Don turn here.
Can't drop down Mars because Kishiro's on board, so all those slash characters are currently protected.
Yep. Starts off by going into the Mihawk, which is countered out with 3k worth of counter. Does now, as you state. Drops the Nustro. And we'll use this now.
4 minutes on the clock. It's ticking.
It is indeed. Jared now to make a decision. Do you want to stick some Don underneath that Nuzjuro? Probably going to get blocked. Trying to get rid of the Tashigi, but that gets blocked. Passes the turn.
And for folks at home, has to remember, the winner of this makes it into the top 8. So that serialized ace is in their hands.
Yeah, exactly. A lot to play for here. Again, down to just over 3 minutes. 3 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock now. Samu Pao is on his 9 Don turn. Figuring out what to do here. We will have Jared able to play the 5 Elders next turn. So we start off with the 8k swing into Nusturo. Nusturo leaves the field. We'll see the restand of that leader now. How much extra Don do you want to commit to it? Well, first starts off with a 5k swing with Mihawk, countered by 1k. Another 5k swing coming in with the other Mihawk. Another counter. We are seeing 7k. That one's being countered with a Equilibrium giving plus 3k to leader. We're now seeing the Law Blocker swinging for 7k as well. Really trying to apply pressure. That one's countered as well. Another 8k swing. Jared takes that. Restand event. That one's countered out of. And we pass turn over to Jared now. So all of those swings came through. Jared now drops the 5 elders and really does need to apply a bit of pressure here. We have got just under 2 minutes left on the clock.
And this is where you need to play correctly, efficiently, but fast, because that time ticking can happen. Because time management is also a very important part of the game, because, you know, it sounds horrible. It's not time wasting, but time management. When there's a minute and a half on the clock and it comes down to life, characters on board, obviously overtime, all these factors, you know, all part of your skill set that you need to be a top player.
Yeah. He is playing in overdrive here now, as you state. There is 10 minutes of overtime, but it's 3 turns. So, Tashigi's dealt with. As there's no protection on board there. So we did see the on-play dealing with that. Now, we do have 2 attacks. Samu Power's got 4 cards in hand. Jared just having a quick look. So, decides to target the leader swing into Mihawk. I'm assuming that's a 6k swing, potentially. I don't know if there's enough in the trash there. Yep, one of the Mihawks goes.
Now, do you swing Nostro into the Law, giving it the minus 2k, so it becomes a 7 into 4?
He's going to go 10.
Ooh.
What's he going to go 10 into, though? Right, no, he's deciding to deal with that Law.
He wants it gone. And it's very important, because if that stays on the board and, you know, next turn, Jared goes hard pressure, the blocker activates if he gets him down to 1 life. So
yeah,
I understand. And obviously you're mapping out cards in hand.
Absolutely. So that was very tight there. That was almost a photo finish when we went to time there. I don't know whether Samu Pao had started his turn or not. So I'm not exactly sure here whether this is turn 0 or turn 1 in overtime. But Samu Pao does here. Okay, just confirmation Samu Pao is on turn 0. So Jared will be on turn 1. So he will be finishing the game on turn 3. So important, Jared did quickly pass the turnover just before time went there. So we are on turn 0 according to the clock that's in play with the judges and the players here. So 5k swing coming in from Drakwil Mihawk to begin with. How do you deal with this one? We are going to see the block and a draw.
Not many cards in hand for Jared, but he's at 2 life, so it's still a healthy position.
Yeah, absolutely. Still got the wand on open as well. We are seeing Perona being played here, trying to find pieces that might help Samu Pao in this turn 0 and turn 2, which are going to be his 2 last turns. Does get a Cavendish. Quite a useful piece. But is it enough at this stage of the game?
I don't think so with you, Taj. The Law, well, if we do it off the Law here, this could be very good, because we get the restand too. But no, we see the Tashigi. Very good play. Rest the Mars. 3 Don on leader. 4 Don on leader. So we're seeing a 9k swing into the Mars.
So Mars gets dealt with, and then we do see a 9k swing coming in. Are we going to see a life being taken here? Yes, we do. Turn gets passed over. Jared now in a position with 3 bodies on board. They are all 7k bodies. Leaders on probably 6, swinging into the Mihawk. Mihawk gets dealt with.
Does he have 5 elders in hand? And this is the great part, right? Because this is where he can clear board, and that law, is not a blocker at this point. Because as we said, you have to be at 1 life to be a blocker.
Yep. TCG's on minus 2k. He's swinging now with a Saturn into life.
And this is where you got to think. Samuel Powell knows, if I survive this turn, my next turn's my last turn. So there's a lot into this. You can sometimes happily take the life if you know the next turn's my last turn. I will try and go for game.
I'm pretty sure Jared's got a Nostro in hand as well here. Has all Dawn open. The law blocker is still in play. So drops the elders. We are going to see all of them come back out again now. Does the search. Gets a wonderful 4k plus event. This is exactly what he's going to be wanting to do. Does get rid of the TCG. Does he apply pressure again here now with that Nostro? Because that can now tease cards out of hand or deal with that law blocker. Does take cards out of hand.
Huge on the counter there.
Yep. Empties his hand. Almost. 2 cards left in hand.
Samuel Powell knows now he has to win this turn.
Yeah, this is it. This is his last turn now. We're turn 2 into overtime. Gonna have
Jared
a look
got
through the
3
trash.
gone up, 2 blockers, which obviously against Zoro can be easily dealt with. Like we said, if a Dead Man Games appears, what do you rest though if a Dead Man Game is here? Do you rest the Don or do you rest the blockers? Because
well, there isn't a Dead Man's Game here. There is a Luffy will be king of the pirates.
So the restand very important.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to see first here?
We see a 6.
6k swing coming in. Do we have a 2k counter in hand or not to be able to deal with this? Or we're going to use an event here? Or do we block? Okay, blocks and draws. That look like... Is that another... Yeah, it's another 4k counter in hand.
I'm glad your eyes are sharp, Taj, because
We've
the
now
speed
got
Jared is riffling those cards.
3 4k counters in hand.
Very strong place.
Wow. Very strong position for Jared to be in if he can withstand this now. So, Samu Powell. 2 cards in hand, I believe. He has to go for game. Not worth playing anything at this point. He does swing. That looks like 12k.
Which Jared could easily take here and still be sitting pretty, even on the restand. I think you take it. You don't need to use any blockers.
Yep. Yeah, he takes
and he knows with the counter in hand, he has the ability to
goes to 13,
and there it is.
Jared wins. Jared makes top 8, goes through and defeats Samu Powell there. What a finish and what a different play style needed there, obviously. Well, one, that was the first time we saw Jared going second, so on his preferred curve. But we saw the pace that he was playing with. We started with less than 10 minutes left on the clock in game 3.